the stream has started. All right, everyone. Welcome to the broadcast, reaching you from our studios here on Asian to Do. Oh yeah, the broadcast that we are also streaming on our brand new channel up here. Time to think. Time to think. So everyone, welcome to the broadcast of today. And you all know the title. There's the title here. Global events happening as Trump captures Maduro. Nicolas Maduro, the deposed president of Venezuela. You know, of late, crazy things have happened globally. And oh yeah, more crazy things is still going down there, out there. More crazy things. And to those that have a simple understanding to the all right, before we proceed with the events of today, or perhaps the analysis of this stream, before we proceed with it, we just want to let you know that this stream is being recorded at the same time, because right there on the screen we can see from our studio, the back end, we can see frames being dropped. So for each frame that is being dropped, it causes glitches on the live stream. Okay, we were here a few minutes ago and we noticed that the output of our broadcast wasn't going out properly, so we had to stop the live stream, then do some technical jobs. But because this stream technically has been long overdue, so we had to do everything today to make sure that we'll come up here live. So in order for us to beat this very issue that is facing us right now, we decided to record the stream while we are live. Okay? So if we miss any part of this stream, if we miss any part of it, we will still upload it. And we are going to upload the stream. So without taking much of our time, I will proceed with what brought us here today. So please, oh please, do bear with us. I believe that we will definitely have to look into whatever is the issues why we are dropping frames during our live streaming. It's either from our setup or most likely from our network connection. So if this issue continues, maybe we have to get the network providers to have a look at it. Okay, or alternatively, we'll make it a direct wire connection. I think a direct wire connection should solve this issue, but it's a bit too late now because we have connected and we are live right now. So with that being said, we have given you a little explanation why this live is freezing. Okay. What next? We are recording it. So we'll upload immediately after this live. So let's continue. You know, a lot of global events has happened. Events that shapes our world. Events that requires careful thinking before making utterances, because there are certain utterances that you will make that definitely will go a long way to cause more damage. Certain utterances that you will make that will go a long way to cause more harms than good. Much recently, January 3rd, that should be like 4 days ago. We are not going to look into the December 2025 bombings because everything is going to be related. We are going to make a different stream for that. And by then, we will try to make sure the connections are stable, because during the live telecast, we have a lot of explanations or points that we want to factor out, that we want to point out to you. And we'll connect it because everything is connected. So do not be deceived. We'll break it down nicely for you. But on this stream right now, our duty is to make sure that we explain this side, this gray side, to you so that you will understand why we decided to pop up here to do this right now. Is because there are some people that you tend to look up to as leaders, but they are actually worse than bandits. They are actually worse than criminals. They just put up the suit and they talk smoothly. But the actual reality is that they are worse than bandits. That they are very useless. They are of no use, not just to humanity alone, but specifically to their own people. And they give these dangerous precedents of a terrible, ugly narrative to their own people, making their people look stupid in reasoning delivery. They cannot deliver good, not to talk of positive reasoning. All their reasoning is usually flawed by wrong ideological concepts. So that is why we have decided to say enough is enough to useless leaders. We all know what has transpired lately and the American siege over the territory of Venezuela. Venezuela remains the country with the largest deposit of crude oil, over 300 billion barrels. America is the second with about 21 billion barrels. Saudi Arabia is the third with about 10 billion barrels. How can an oil producing country like Saudi Arabia, that I believe they made them the eternal chairman of the OPEC, Organization of Petroleum, one thing, OPEC. How can they be the leaders of oil producing economic countries of the world? When their proven reserve is about 10 billion, while America, that doesn't have oil, has over 20 billion, about 21 billion. Now Venezuela has about 304 billion oil reserve, the largest in the world. You know, they said Venezuela is the largest in the world. That could actually be debated positively in the right sense. It could be debated because the proven reserve in Nigeria might be as huge or as much as that of Venezuela. But it is not documented. Recently we saw an update that, they just discovered lithium in Nigeria in excess abundance, and the global powers are looking the direction of Nigeria right now. They are looking at that direction. But lo and behold, this lithium mining has been going on in Nigeria for donkey years, for more than 10 years, if not 20 or more. Nigeria is a country that is rigged every corner with all mineral resources that has never ever been reported by any journal or media worldwide. But there has always been silent mining of these resources. They have always been silent mining. So when they are counting Venezuela, the United States, Saudi Arabia, I believe Norway, it should be Norway, yeah? Russia, Canada. What happened to Nigeria? Do you know why we had to bring in Nigeria at this stage? Don't worry, you all will understand. Just pay attention to this broadcast. Pay attention to this broadcast. You will get to where I'm going. So when we come to do the part 2 of this program, you will sit up tight to listen properly to what we have to say. Alright? Nigeria is underreported or never reported at all. The land of Nigeria is extremely unstable. Day in, day out, year in, year out, from generation to generation, and hopefully, as they hope that it will be eternal that way, that Nigeria will remain permanently useless and forever unstable. But they are wrong, because everything that has a beginning must definitely have an end. Just like Venezuela crisis, which has lasted well from the time of the criminal dictator known as Hugo Chavez up to Nicolas Maduro, before America had to depose him by force. America sent him out. Not even sending him out, America took him. America took him, and he's in America right now standing trials. And lots of people were hoping that, China is going to fight, Russia is going to fight. Lo and behold, China and Russia are quiet. Only China, the great paper tiger, are making statements. Release Maduro. We order you to release Maduro. I love what Rubio told China a few weeks ago before they bombed Nigeria. China will not dictate our foreign policy. If China comes in between, the consequences will be severe like never before. China will receive it hard like never before. China stayed away. Then America said once again, the Western Hemisphere is their neighborhood. Nobody comes there to play around. That's why they gave the standard word FAFO. China thinks that it is by investing billions. China has an investment of over $104 billion invested into the rogue regime of Nicolas Maduro. You see, there is something with the collective South. Why they are collective South is because they are a group of useless people. The entire collective South is a group of criminals. But always remember one thing, that there is no honor amongst thieves. So that is what the collective South represents. They are useless people. We have no apology for that. Because what is playing out in the world of today, we all see it and we all know how the media has always tilted the story and filled every place with lies. And the worst of all liars these days are the so-called media of the collective South, spearheaded by the country known as India. India cannot do without lying. Indians lie more than Lucifer himself. And these people, they lie without shame. If BBC or CNN is, or perhaps they are, a source of deception by lying, the ones that have taken over that mantle from them is India. From Gravitas to Vantage, from Vantage to Times of India, TOI. Every single Indian media is a propaganda machine that lies like Lucifer, lies beyond Lucifer. Lucifer learns how to lie from the Indians. And these people are shameless. India remains, so far, the undisputed rape nation of the world. India holds the world title. Even if you go to India as a top citizen of the world, even if you are a president of, no, the wife of a president, a top country, be it America, be it Germany, be it Russia, the Indians will rape you. They will rape you. They don't care. A population of over 1.4 billion people. 1,400,000,000 people. All rapists. All rapists. The Indians have no shame. They have no shame. Yet they come out to preach about moral standard or ethics. Their only job is to attack all their media, all Indian media. Their only job is to attack Donald Trump always. They will never talk about other nations. You know, the Indians, they do it this way. They bring the truth to you. They tell you. They make excellent reportage. They convince you. You understand that, oh, these people are saying the truth. Then suddenly, somewhere along the line, they chip it in. They chip in the deception. That deception is what that will make you take a detour from the path of truth to the path of deception. They are experts. The Indians are experts with that. Formerly, I used to love them. I used to love their channel. So whenever they do their news reportage, I see it as awesome, you know. And whenever they say these things, it makes me feel a little bit jittery. I want to ask, why are they giving their reportage like this? Why are they mixing it up with little lies? Or these little lies they put in, could it be the real truth that no one is telling us about? That has been the question that has been on my mind for a very, very long time. Lo and behold, how was I able to break away from this deception of the Indians? It was just one day when they made a report about Nigeria. Oh, Donald Trump is going to invade Nigeria over alleged Christian killing. That Nigeria has remained peaceful. And reports coming from Nigeria, both from the government and the important people of Nigeria, says that Nigeria is peaceful. There is no crime going on in Nigeria. In fact, there's no Christian killing. The ones that are dying are the Muslims. That is what India said. And India, till today, they have held on to that narrative that Nigeria is peaceful. Trump is waging a senseless war. Trump is waging a senseless war in Nigeria. That Nigeria is peaceful. That is what the Indian media, they keep narrating till this moment. Those people are demonic. They've lost my respect forever. And in as much as we remain Asian to do, and we have this voice here, we will always rubbish India. No matter the good they do, we don't see anything good about India. Because there is nothing good about the devil. Let's be honest with that. Nothing good. If India can sit up with a straight face and tell lies to the entire world, shame on India. They are useless. India also came out, all the major medias of India, from Gravitas to Vantage. Parki Sharma used to work for Gravitas before she moved over to Vantage. Times of India. Before America went and captured Nicolas Maduro, Parki Sharma of Vantage, First Post, every now and then she makes broadcasts from Vantage. They show the Venezuelans, the whole country being armed, supporting Maduro, that they love Maduro. That is what all Indian media keeps showing to the world. That Venezuelans are happy with Maduro, that their country is okay. That Trump wants to invade their country for oil. India, it will never be well with you people. That is why Western civilization will lead the world forever, spearheaded by America. They will lead it forever. You don't become great by lies. Indians, you people are useless. Yet you have Trump wanted to deport, I believe by now they should be rounding up all the deportation because they have been deporting Indians back to their country. Over 3 million illegal Indians living in America, and every day Indians are running to America, but you can stay on your own media handle in your country to say America is useless. You people are shameless. You people are shameless. You know, what happened? America entered Venezuela, and they captured Maduro. They took Maduro out. When they took Maduro out, we now saw videos from Venezuela, from South America, from Europe, from across the world. Venezuelans rejoicing, being happy that finally this evil has been taken away, thanking President Trump. I will show you the videos here. I'll show you a couple of videos here. Thanking President Trump. So, and I had to ask Indian media, led by Parki Sharma of Vantage and Gravitas, that where are the videos you people have been showing to the world that the entire country of Venezuela, their citizens, are solidly standing behind the evil man known as Nicolas Maduro? Where are these Venezuelans? Where are they? They are absolutely nowhere to be found. Nowhere. Is that not a shame on a country like India to project such lies dangerously without conscience? Is it not a shame? It's a question I want to know. Is it not a shame? Today, where are these people? We don't know where they are. But we are not going deep into that side, we have to take a little bit of time to explain these sides to you. Because we know when we start bringing out the reportage, people get fusy. They want to get angry and say, oh, he has started. Ashanti he has started. We are not going to listen. I don't give a 2-cent fork if you listen or not. The message will resonate and re-echo to those that have something here. After all, if you cast your pearls among swine, it will be trampled in the mud. So we don't cast our pearls anyhow. We put it out the way we need to put it out, okay? We don't do such rubbish. This is Ashanti do. We don't care about how you feel. All we do is to say it the way we need to say it. We don't do politically correct speech here. And God Almighty help us that we will never ever do politically correct speech here. Never ever. So if you are hoping that we are going to do politically correct speech here, then you are joking. You are joking. You are seriously joking. It will never ever happen. Okay? So, let us continue. Let us continue. I'm going to play a video up here. And I want you all to pay close attention to that video. It is from another Buzu. Buzu. From South Africa. Less than 24 hours when Maduro got arrested, one man jumped out and started threatening. The man threatened so badly. But meanwhile, this is a man whose country went to Congo to fight the M23 rebels. And in a couple of days or weeks, the entire military, what do they call it again? This is, military barracks, or this is a military camp or whatever. The entire military of the country was captured by rebels, untrained military officers or untrained militias, capturing the finest armies of this man's country, captured them, both male and female, and kept them hostage there in that country for weeks. They were captured. Now, this same man shamelessly came out to threaten the best fighting machine of the world that is absolutely reckless and senseless of such. China and Russia, they had to sit back and think. China was in that country to discuss high profile security issues. They brought in military gadgets, gave it to the country, mounted it, did everything. They were prepared to go into war with the US. As China left, less than 24 hours, the Americans struck. They disabled the entire country. They rubbish all military gadgets and facilities supplied by Russia and China. They captured the president. They took the president. They went away. That was a shock. Under tight security, they had mercenaries. They had special forces from Cuba and from other places on ground, ready to protect Maduro. But America went in there, finished the job, carried the man and the wife, and left the country. It brought about an immediate shock wave into the Kremlin and into Beijing. These are people that are well advanced, according to them, paper-wise. You know, they started thinking, how possible was this? But a man whose country deteriorates per seconds every day, that are very useless, he jumped out to threaten. That is why the black man is useless. The black man can only be compared to certain class of animals that don't think before they act. He started threatening. Weapon, you don't have. Technical know-how, you don't have. Skills, you don't have. Manpower, you don't have. Education, you don't have. You have none of these things apart from noise that you have. You threatened. Now, we are going to let you watch a little of what his own citizens said, and we'll come back right here. Because after that one, we give you also what Canada said about the country, so that you all will get to understand where we are coming from. Let's go there.
I want you to hold this number in your head. $14 billion. That's how much depends on trade with the United States every single year. Now listen, because I'm going to tell you something that's going to make your blood boil. January 3rd, 2026, the United States launches a full-scale military operation into Venezuela. Airstrikes, special forces, they capture President Nicolas Maduro and his wife. This is Operation Absolute Resolve. And while the world is still processing what just happened, South Africa, a country dealing with 32% unemployment, rolling blackouts, collapsing infrastructure, and one of the highest crime rates on the planet, immediately issues a strong public condemnation of the United States. Yeah, you heard that right. Not a quiet diplomatic note behind closed doors, a public condemnation, calling it a manifest violation of the United Nations Charter. They demanded an emergency UN Security Council session. So here's the question we're going to answer today.
Now, let's stop it there. South Africa rose up to say that America violated the UN Charter. When UN was UN, when UN was in power, when it was created, and up till much recently, does South Africa as a nation know anything about United Nations, or they were busy serving their white masters under the name of apartheid? Now, a child came out, their president, a child came out to say America is violating laws. What law? This is the biggest question I want to ask. What law did America violate? You see, this global south are a bunch of criminals. A man is running his country. He impoverished everybody. The money that is meant to use to take care of his own citizen, he's using it on drugs and weapons. Later, you will look at America or any other Western world and you say, oh, these people are criminals. They made their land better for their own citizens and even for foreigners to come there and have a life. You, your own, they handed over South Africa to the ANC. For 30 years, South Africa became a banana republic is better, a jungle. They ran it down into the ground. And initially they blame, oh, we are just coming out from apartheid. Now they turn around, oh, it is the foreigners. This same president of South Africa woke up last month, December 2025. He said the unemployment rate in his country is caused by foreigners, that they should deal with the foreigners. This is a president. When he said that, throughout the month of December, there was rolling shootings, mass shooting all over South Africa. People kept on dying to the point that even high-profile citizens were gunned down in front of cameras. Till today, they never publish any of the camera footage so that people will say, oh, this is the one that gunned him down. But they brought out some people and say, oh, this is the one that gunned him down. Bring out the camera. Till today, they didn't. But you can wake up from your country, you jump to America, you target them, and you abuse them, and say you are going to deal with them. What type of foolishness is inscribed in the DNA of black people? Blacks. You people are useless. Blacks. China that has money, weapon technology, education, everything. They didn't speak the way the president of South Africa started speaking immediately. Less than 24 hours. Russia that has all the manpower, According to them, oh, they are the highest with nuclear weapons. They didn't say anything. Everyone went back into their house. They started thinking, with all our technology, with everything that we have, America was able to pull out this heat. None of our security system was able to track them. Our, what do they call it, air defense system, it never worked. How was America able to neutralize this thing? And they took the president and went away. Hours. And before the Americans left, every bullet they fired in Venezuela, they cleaned it up. Can you imagine a nation on a mission? Captured the president, hours of shooting, they captured the president, they cleaned up the whole place, left. Even with their bullets, they cleaned it up and left. Then it is a country like South Africa that cannot even defeat other rebels, M23, that is making noise. I pity you people. And the citizens are there every day. You go, you see the citizens every day. Oh, we are going to deal with America. We'll chase them away. America, America, America. The black man is a virus to creation. Solid virus. They can't think. When they bomb them once, they, oh God, they are oppressing us. No, you don't deserve. God doesn't even have your time as a black man. Listen to his citizen. His citizen is analyzing the errors and the foolishness of their own leader. Just listen. Continue.
Why is South Africa picking this fight? Is President Cyril Ramaphosa standing up for international law, or is he poking a sleeping bear that could destroy South Africa's economy? And most importantly, who actually benefits from this move? By the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly what's at stake, why the timing is suspicious, and what this could cost ordinary South Africans. Hit the like button if you want the truth. Subscribe, because we're not going to stop digging into this story. Let's get into it. Let me tell you something about January 3rd, 2026. That date is going to matter. Hold that in your head. The United States, under President Donald Trump, launched what they are calling Operation Absolute Resolve.
This wasn't a surgical strike. This was airstrikes across northern Venezuela.
Multiple targets, Caracas included. And then, special forces go in. They capture Nicolas Maduro, the actual sitting president of Venezuela. They capture his wife, Cilia Flores. Think about that for a moment. When was the last time you saw the United States conduct a military operation to physically remove a foreign head of state? This isn't a drone strike. This isn't regime change through proxies. This is boots on the ground, helicopters in the air, and a president in handcuffs. Now, the US justification goes like this. Maduro was indicted back in 2020. Those charges were superseded in 2025. For narco-terrorism and drug trafficking conspiracy. Venezuelan entities were designated as terrorist organizations. There were disputed elections in 2024 that the US didn't recognize. And Trump had been building up military presence in the Caribbean throughout 2025.
So this wasn't spontaneous. This was planned, coordinated, executed.
And here's where it gets interesting. Trump announces, and I want you to really hear this, that the US would temporarily run Venezuela to facilitate a transition. He emphasized access to Venezuela's massive oil reserves. He talked about US companies making investments. Later, slightly. They said there were no plans for direct governance, but read between the lines. When a US president says we're going to run a country temporarily, what does that actually mean? Now stop right there, because we need to understand the global chessboard. Who condemned the US action? China, Russia, Cuba, Iran, several Latin American states. You see the pattern? These aren't random countries. These are nations that actively oppose US influence. These are members or allies of BRICS. These are countries that have been building an alternative power structure to challenge American hegemony. Now, who supported or cautiously welcomed it? Argentina, Israel, Ukraine. Again, not random. These are current US allies with their own strategic interests. Protests erupted globally against the intervention. But here's what's really interesting. Venezuelan diaspora communities celebrated Maduro's removal. So even within the Venezuelan story, there's complexity, there's nuance. There's people who suffered under Maduro cheering his capture. Remember that, because we're going to come back to it. Now let's move to Pretoria. January 3rd, 2026. Same day as the operation. Did you catch that timing? Same day. The South African Department of International Relations and Cooperation, DIRCO, issues an official statement. They expressed grave concern. They call it a manifest violation of the Charter of the United Nations. They emphasize that the UN Charter prohibits the threat or use of force against a state's territorial integrity. They warn that unilateral actions lead to instability and undermine global order. And then, this is crucial, they urgently call for an emergency UN Security Council session. Now, the South African Communist Party, SACP, goes even further. They demand unconditional US withdrawal. They frame it as imperial aggression. But here's what's missing. As of January 5th, 2026, 2 days later, there's no direct public statement from President Cyril Ramaphosa himself. The response is being led by DIRCO. Why does that matter? Because when a president wants to make something personal, they speak personally. When a government wants to make something official but measured, they use diplomatic channels. So what is this, really? Let me ask you something. Venezuela is 10,000 kilometers away from South Africa. There are no shared borders. There is minimal trade. Venezuelan issues don't directly.
Now, listen to another point this young man made. He said Venezuela is 10,000 miles away from South Africa. They don't share trades like that. That means it is close to 0% trade. Why would South Africa jump in that they are going to fight for the rights of Venezuela? But on ground in South Africa, the president encourages the dealing with foreign, not even foreign, with Africans that are not of South African origin, that they should be dealt with and removed. But the same president, Ramaphosa, went to Palestine to bring in Hamas into South Africa, took them there and brought them into South Africa. Now, he's speaking another fight. 10,000 miles away. It is something that has absolutely nothing to do with South Africa, or in fact the entire African continent. They don't have those type of traits, you know. But you know, as a child that feels that sometimes they need a fight, they even want to fight their fathers or their parents. That's why the press secretary of United States, the little girl, she said that the president of South Africa, she mentioned the name Cyril Ramaphosa, is running his mouth like a school boy. Can you imagine the way they described the president of South Africa, that he is running his mouth like a schoolboy? Judging from this, that this young man on the screen is analyzing, is the president of South Africa actually behaving like a schoolboy? The answer is yes. Yes. Continue.
About the African National Congress. The ANC has a long documented history of anti-imperialism. During the apartheid era, the United States wasn't exactly the hero of that story. Neither was the West in general. The ANC found support from socialist and communist countries. Cuba sent troops to fight in Angola. The Soviet Union provided training and weapons. Venezuela, under Hugo Chavez and later Maduro, provided oil aid and solidarity. So when ANC leaders talk about imperial aggression, this isn't random language. This is ideological muscle memory. This is historical loyalty. But here's what's really interesting. Historical loyalty doesn't pay electricity bills. It doesn't fix ESCOM. It doesn't lower the unemployment rate. It doesn't reduce crime. And it doesn't feed families.
Hold it right there. It doesn't pay electricity bill. It doesn't reduce crime. It doesn't feed families. But your leaders are so useless and so clueless that they don't know what they want. He's making historical loyalty. Look at your country. No electricity, load shedding everywhere. Basic amenities is zero. He said, the so-called ruling class and the elites of the country said, oh, it's foreigners. Oh, we love the apartheid era. They say it with their mouth. The videos are there, online everywhere. They say, let apartheid come back so that these Africans will leave our land. You are picking a fight. Don't worry. You see, the currency of Venezuela is about 4 million Venezuelan currency to $1. The currency of Iran is about 41 million. $1 equals 41 million of Iranian currency. That is why Iran is boiling right now. The hardship, the suffering is there. South Africa is next online. It's next online. It's coming. Everything is coming down to the wires. Since it's only radicals that knows nothing about economic transformation that can run this country for more than 30 years, it's coming down to the wires. Banana Republic or Jungle Republic is just an understatement. Hell is coming home. Let's continue.
So ideology alone? That's not enough to explain this. There has to be more. Now we need to shift our focus to something bigger. South Africa is part of BRICS: Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. Who else supports Venezuela internationally? Russia, China, Iran. You see where I'm going with this? Condemning US military action in Venezuela aligns South Africa perfectly with its BRICS partners. This isn't about Venezuela specifically. This is about signaling. This is about showing your alliance. This is about building a multipolar world where the United States doesn't get to act unilaterally without consequences. Now think about that for a moment. South Africa positions itself as a leader of the Global South. They want to be seen as champions of sovereignty and international law. But they also want to be in good standing with China and Russia, countries that provide investment, infrastructure funding, and political support. So when the US invades Venezuela, South Africa has a choice: stay silent and look weak to your BRICS allies, or speak up and risk American retaliation. They chose to speak up, but at what cost? Now pause right there, because this theory hits close to home for every South African watching this. Let's talk about what's actually happening inside South Africa right now. Load shedding, still. Unemployment at 32%, infrastructure collapse, water shortages, crime that makes international headlines, state capture fallout that's still being investigated, a government of national unity, the GNU, that's barely holding together after the 2024 elections, coalition tensions everywhere. Now let me ask you something. If you're a government struggling with all of that, isn't it tempting to look strong on something else? Isn't it convenient to shift focus to international moral leadership? This is like your house being on fire, and instead of calling the fire department, you start criticizing your neighbor's braai. It looks principled, it sounds noble, but it solves absolutely nothing for the people inside that burning house. Here's that number again: $14 billion. That's the value of trade between the United States and South Africa every single year. Now let me tell you about something called AGOA, the African Growth and Opportunity Act. AGOA gives South Africa preferential access to US markets. That means South African goods, agriculture, automotive, manufacturing, can enter the United States with reduced or zero tariffs. Do you understand what that's worth?
Now let's hold it right there. You see, it said AGOA gives South African made goods preferential treatment to enter America with reduced or zero tariff. America gave China something similar to this. Despite the technological advancement of China many years later, they still rated China as a third world nation, still giving them that preferential treatment. So China now started acting that they are now rich, the second biggest economy. It got into their head as black people that they are. You know, China originally, they are blacks. So no matter how white their skin can look, up here, they are still black in the brain. They started acting up. What America did under the Biden administration was to remove China officially from the third world list. Alright? So now, everything that China does, they charge them standard like the Western world. That is why China economy took a hit. Their real estate section or sector is no longer booming, you know. It's not blossoming anymore. It's not booming. So, they are facing economic strangulation. Cutting off Venezuela oil from them because they take about 60 to 80% of Venezuela oil, but in Iran, they take almost 90% of their oil. So with this oil-based economy that they take from these people, they are prepared. They are preparing for war 2027 to take over Taiwan by force. But those that knows the true history of Taiwan knows that Taiwan has nothing to do with China. The only issue is that they are neighbors and they helped them during the Chinese Revolution, that they took the democratic system of China, they overthrew them, and the communist system led by Mao Zedong started. So now they feel that they have the right to take Taiwan by force, just as they did to other places, including Hong Kong, taking them up by force, and America looking the other way around, Britain looking the other way around. China is so useless to a fault that they had to celebrate Victory Day, that they defeated Japan, when we know the truth that it was America that defeated Japan. Then America and Britain came together to chase Japan away from China because Japan was controlling China. China is so lazy that they never won any war. They were humiliated. That is why you see Xi Jinping talking about 100 years of humiliation. China was ruthlessly humiliated any day, any time. So whatever China says, they are strong militarily, forget China. China, they are a bunch of noisemakers like South Africa. They are a bunch of noisemakers. America did what they did in Venezuela. From the BRICS nation, only one nation amongst them never said a word, and that is Brazil. Do you know why? Brazil is fighting a drug war in their country right now. They know that what America is saying is the truth. The entire South American continent, up to the north, more especially down south, are all around drug dealers. All their presidents, drug dealers. All their leaders, drug dealers. All their church leaders, drug dealers. And Trump said, enough is enough. Is there nothing good that you people can do apart from dealing on drugs? And when they move the drug, they move it to America and Canada. They don't take it alone in their country so that they will be forever useless. They move it around the world, move arms also. They appointed you as leaders to lead your country, to help your people, but you are doing drugs, doing gun business, crimes. America said enough. Brazil is trying to clean up their home. That's why Brazil never said anything. Argentina never said anything because they are working on cleaning up their home. There are gangs everywhere in those countries, criminals. The only thing Maduro can do is to give Hamas a base in Venezuela, training them on how to carry out attack with billions of dollars. Billions of dollars. We are going to talk about the Ayatollah. That will be in the next broadcast. But this one, let's finish up this one. You hate America so much, but the money in your pocket is the US dollars. You hate America so much, you want to burn down their country. You are not burning it down, you just want to go there and take over. So that you'll be like the ANC in America, spoil everything. They gave you South Africa, you destroyed it. You destroyed it. Every day you stand there, you speak English, you talk rubbish. This is your citizen. Listen to him.
That's jobs. That's export revenue. That's economic stability for thousands of South African families. Now listen carefully. That access is not guaranteed. It's not a right. It's a political agreement. It's conditional, and it can be withdrawn. In 2025, the relationship between Trump and Ramaphosa already deteriorated. Trump confronted Ramaphosa at the White House over false claims about white genocide in South Africa. The US imposed tariffs. They threatened to exclude South Africa from the 2026 G20. They threatened AGOA benefits. Analysts are at its lowest point in decades. So when Ramaphosa's government publicly condemns a signature Trump foreign policy operation, he's not just making a statement. He's making a bet, a very dangerous one. Because if Trump retaliates, if he pulls AGOA, if he imposes more tariffs, if he cuts aid funding like PEPFAR for HIV treatment, who suffers? Not the politicians, the workers, the farmers, the factory employees, the ordinary South Africans who depend on that trade. Let me tell you something uncomfortable about coalition governments. They are fragile. The GNU was formed after the 2024 elections because no party won an outright majority. The ANC is in coalition with parties that have very different foreign policy views. The Democratic Alliance, for example, tends to be more pro-Western. They are not going to be enthusiastic about condemning the United States. Reports indicate that there were clashes within the GNU over the Venezuela response. The ANC pushed for condemnation. Other parties likely favored neutrality or quieter diplomacy. So why did the ANC push this? Think about internal party politics. Ramaphosa faces pressure from more radical factions within the ANC, factions that see him as too moderate, too compromising, too willing to work with Western interests. By taking a strong anti-US stance on Venezuela, Ramaphosa reinforces his revolutionary credentials. He shows he's still aligned with the party's historical ideology. He signals to the left wing of the ANC that he hasn't sold out. But international politics isn't a party conference. This is a power game with real consequences. Now stop right there, because this is the part everyone's dancing around. Donald Trump. Whether you love him or hate him, and I'm not here to debate that, this fact matters. Trump doesn't respond like traditional politicians. He doesn't write strongly worded diplomatic cables. He doesn't organize committee meetings. He responds transactionally, and he responds publicly. If you challenge him, if you embarrass him, if you condemn his wins, he pulls levers. Trade levers, aid levers, diplomatic levers. This isn't speculation. This is pattern recognition from nearly a decade of Trump in politics. So when South Africa publicly condemns what Trump is presenting as a major foreign policy success, removing a dictator, accessing oil, saving Venezuela, what do you think happens next? Do you think Trump says, "Oh well, South Africa has a principled position, I respect that"? Or do you think he tweets something, makes a phone call, and tells his trade representatives to look at AGOA again? Really think about that. Let's do the math. Let's do the forensic accounting on what this gamble could cost. If AGOA is weakened or removed, manufacturing jobs vanish. The automotive sector, which exports to the US, collapses. Agricultural exports, wine, fruit, nuts, face massive tariffs. Investor confidence in South Africa drops further. Currency pressure on the rand increases. Unemployment, already at 32%, climbs higher. Now ask yourself this question. Is Venezuela going to replace that trade? Is Russia? Is China going to suddenly import billions in South African goods to make up the difference? Be honest with yourself. The answer is no. Here's what doesn't make sense. If South Africa truly cares about sovereignty and international law, if this is really about principled opposition to military intervention, where was the same level of outrage for Ethiopia's Tigray conflict, where hundreds of thousands died? Myanmar's military coup and brutal crackdown, Sudan's civil war and humanitarian catastrophe, Syria's years of destruction. Why Venezuela? Why now? Why this specific US action? That selective morality should make you uncomfortable. Because selective outrage is a strategic interest. It usually means the condemnation serves a purpose beyond the stated principles. Did South Africa demand an emergency UN Security Council session when Russia annexed Crimea? When China cracked down in Hong Kong? I'm not saying those situations are identical. I'm saying the selectivity reveals something. Let me give you some context about why this works politically inside South Africa. Anti-Western rhetoric resonates deeply. It taps into colonial trauma that's real and generational. Economic frustration with inequality that hasn't been solved. Political nostalgia for the liberation struggle. When ANC leaders talk about imperialism, they are speaking a language that parts of the electorate understand viscerally. That doesn't make the Venezuela condemnation wrong, but it makes it useful. And usefulness in politics is never accidental. If you're watching this from outside South Africa, you need to understand this is identity politics. This is about how South Africa sees itself in the world, as a leader of the global South, as a voice for the oppressed, powerful Western nations. That
South Africa, point of correction, South Africa can never ever be a leader of the global South. South Africa can never ever be a country that stands up for Africans, because what you people are doing in your country is disgraceful. It's 1,000,000% disgraceful. Our job, our duty as alternate voice, from more especially from ancient to do, is to call a spade and tell you how rotten you people are as a group, as an organization, as an entity, as a country, as anything that you want to be. He can never ever be a leader of the global South. Because if this same Ramaphosa can wake up and say, oh, that, how did he put it again? Oh, give me a minute, I'll fix it. All right. If Ramaphosa can come out and say, oh, that what's going on